and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Hollis and Melik. Unfortunately, Tom couldn't make it today, but hey, show must goes on. Must go on. We missed the episode last week, but we trying to move forward today. Yeah. So we're going to talk about how we're going to talk about it in this episode. How we're going to segue everything. We're going to talk about owners and how a lot of time ownership and these promoters, how they like take advantage of their athletes or take advantage of their employees per se. So this is going to segue from the Francis Ngannou situation to the Brian Forrest situation in the NFL, which he filed. If you guys don't know, you should look it up. He's a coach that got fired from the Miami Dolphins. He had two winning seasons, two winning records. They fired him unjustly, if you ask me. And he was trying to get an interview, and Bill Belichick pretty much texted him like, "Hey man," and like how you would text your friend, because Bill Belichick, he used to work for him, and he knows him. He's like, "Hey, good, congratulations, Brian, on getting the Giants job." He's like, "Wait, hold up. Are you sure it's me? Because I didn't even interview yet." And mind you, he knew both. He knew the Brian Dable, who's the Giants' new head coach, and Brian Flores. He probably just had it saved on his phone as Brian, and he forgot. And he texted the wrong Brian, and it kind of like snowballed into this whole thing where he's like, "Yo, enough is enough. I'm filing this class action lawsuit," and now the NFL got some explaining to do. But before we get into that, let's get into the Francis Ngannou situation. So as you guys know, I think UFC 271 happened like a couple of Saturdays ago, and Francis Ngannou, despite all the odds, having a torn MCL, a damaged MPFL, and had partially torn ACL in one of his knees, he didn't specify, went out there and defeated Saravan in a unanimous decision to retain his UFC title, which was the last fight of his contract. Now, Dana White typically goes out there and wrap the belt around the fighter. He did not show up for Francis' fight, nor did he show up to put the belt around it, as well as not showing up to the press conference. So a lot of people was like, "Yo, speculating like, what's going on? Why did he do that? It's because of the contract." He's like, "Oh no, it's not because of the contract. I had something to take care of in the back, yada yada yada," which is BS. But all these things was happening prior was that Francis Ngannou came on the MMA Hour show with Ariel Helwani and said, "Look, right before my fight, they sent me an email saying that they're going to sue me because my manager was talking to Jake Paul's manager." And he said, "I don't even know who Jake Paul's manager is. I don't know what they're talking about." So you can see that the UFC was really trying to put a lot of pressure on him by doing a lot of stuff in the press conference, really harassing him with the lawsuits, doing all these mental games for him, hoping that he would lose so they could say, "Oh, he lost, wash our hands at him and move forward." But before I dive deeper into my thoughts on that, I want to get Hollister's and Melik's opinion. So we can start with Hollister and Melik.
It's an unfortunate situation. Like it's a sad look. Like Francis Ngannou been out there fighting top notch people for the longest. Like this man just wanted to get more money, like everybody else. He was doing all this training. Like his contract is up. Resign him. He done for his last fight, like you said, with a torn both his knees messed up. Like, come on, and I find it disrespectful that Dana White wasn't there to wrap the belt around his waist. He does it for everybody else, no matter what. And that was like the main event on that fight too. So it's like people paid a lot of money, even though it wasn't the most, exciting fight as people was hoping for. Two heavyweights, those guys could go blow for blow all day long, but it's not a good look. And like Dana White, looking he's looking real kind of, like snake like, because he don't want to do this. He have like personal animosity towards these fighters and everything else. And it's like a lot of people who want to probably eventually leave, like you mentioned Jake Paul thing, and I know Khabib, I think, is working on opening up his own kind of thing too, so people might shift from UFC to his joint. And Dana White gonna be like losing people in a sense, but hopefully they get something resolved. I highly doubt it, but I wouldn't mind seeing, Ngannou stay in the UFC and possibly hoping we could see that dream fight everybody's waiting for, and maybe John Jones and him go at it. But I don't know what's going to happen. Just gotta stay tuned and see
Yeah,
what's next.
yeah. Melik?
Yeah, it's like y'all saying, man. It's an unfortunate situation. Dana White saying what he's saying. We all know that when he's ready, he'll spin whatever narrative in his direction. Like, you mean to tell me Dana White ain't got somebody else to handle what's going on in the back? He had to personally handle that. Like, come on. Like, he is at most press conferences, especially a big fight like that, to not be there to wrap the belt and not be at the post-fight press conference. He didn't want to answer questions about Ngannou, about the contract, about what's next, and make promises and talk about all that stuff. He know he ain't want to do all that, and that's really what it's about. Then on top of that, you know, Ngannou looking at it, like I said, he had the injuries with his knees, other stuff. He 35, you know what I'm saying? And in the heavyweight division, he know he probably don't got too much more years of fighting, let alone prime years, right? So he trying to get his money. And it's like also he trying to take control and agency over his career, right? Heavyweights are usually considered the baddest people in the world, right? In a certain sense, right? So yeah, once again, I know Conor McGregor is a special situation, right? He box office, everybody love him, care about him. He's a big draw and all of that kind of stuff, right? But Ngannou probably looking at it like, yo, y'all let Conor do boxing, y'all let this happen, right? Because he was talking about he want to fight Tyson Fury, and that would probably be a big money fight, certain other things. So he just wanted more agency in his contract. Plus, I saw it out there. Mark Hunt was talking about he made 900,000. This was years ago, and Ngannou he beat Stipe, the greatest heavyweight of all time, right? He had those fights. He doing big things, and this is today after they got other deals, after the company has continues to be prosperous. Mark wasn't no champ. He was making 900K, bro, and God will get. I'll be tight with my contract too. I'm not going. And then there's back scene stuff too, because I think I was hearing like you said with the Jake Paul and this person, like the so UFC is part owned by Endeavor, like agency or whatever, and they're competitors with Creative Arts Agency (CAA), and that's where Ngannou is. And they were saying this other fighter was under that. He had an issue too, and they let him go. But it's like it's definitely something fishy going
Kevin
on,
Lee.
and hopefully, yeah, Kevin Lee, exactly, yeah, it was him, right? So it's like it's definitely some personal stuff going on where people don't like this person and that person, and then they just want to have that control over him and not let him, have a certain level of control and agency with his career. That's what it's about. Cause they feel like it's going to set a precedent. It's going to let other people try to come out there and pull those kinds of moves and stuff like that. So, I mean, hopefully it gets worked out. I know right now they got the championship clause, so you know we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. But they didn't do what
Yeah,
he
it
was
is. Yeah, I mean, to sum it all up, what you guys are saying, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and like I know a lot of my friends make fun of me saying I'm always the one trying to find like race and stuff like that into everything, but in this case, I mean, I'm going to say a lot of it is like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of UFC fighters have bad contracts. A lot of them have these kind. It's almost like a slave cause kind of in the sense. And I hate to say, don't get me wrong, MMA has been very good. I love the sport. It grew on us. I remember like me, Menelik, and Mustafa, we was watching it one time on TV when we first saw. He was like, "Yo, this is crazy!" Like we was like cringing, like seeing somebody get his tooth knocked out because he got a knee to the face. But now we desensitized. We kind of, and then after us training in like respected sport like Muay Thai, and I did Muay Thai. He did Jiu-Jitsu and some other stuff like that, Panatuka and different things like that. We started to understand the arts and look at it from a different perspective. Now, I say all that to say is that you look at these guys and the way these contracts are like structured is like they're trapped. Like for instance, there's no way if I'm becoming a professional in anything, whether I'm a professional athlete, especially, I should be compensated and paid a living wage. It shouldn't be if I'm a private contractor. Yes, I understand it's about marketing. I understand it's about fighting and you're getting the draw and the revenue. But if I'm a fighter, I shouldn't be making like 8,000 or now I think they bumped it up to 12,000 per fight now. If I'm not fighting frequently throughout the year, let's say I had a nasty injury during my fight, I might fight once a year. $12,000 is not going to cover it. I still have to pay rent. I still have to pay my managers. I have to pay, you know what I mean, myself and pay taxes. Yet alone try to live. So then that means I have to find another job, and I can't really put all my eggs in this one basket to get better to be that top drawer if I don't have something else. And back in the day, the fighters had, marketing with from like sponsors. They could wear the sponsors on their shorts or on their flags because the UFC has this contract deal with Venom and before Reebok, fighters can't do that. So now I can't have my own sponsorships within the cage. We used to cover a lot of these fighters like wages. You have that, and like one of the guys was saying, I think Mark Hunt was also talking about this too. He's like, look, the way a contract is structured, like the UFC knows how much they pay you and pretty much knows the ins and outs. So if I pay Hollister $60,000 for his fight, he won his fight, he got like a $60,000 plus $20,000. Let's see, walk away with 80, right? And he give me a hard time. They're like, I want to renegotiate my contract. I'm bringing more people in. I'll put more butts in the seats. I want to get more money. He's like, all right, cool. They just put him on the show. Don't give him no fights. He can't fight. The years dwindling away. That money's drying up. Then what happens? He gets desperate. He signs that new deal, and that deal locks him in for another 8 fights. So if I decide to retire and I still got like 4 fights in my contract, I can't come out of retirement and go to another organization, I am still obligated to fight for the UFC. So you're pretty much trapped. So when Ngannou was saying, like, I want freedom, I want to be able to do my thing, he left millions on the table because they wanted to renegotiate him before. But he said, you know what? When I was here, y'all stifled me. I was holding you in the show, but y'all wanted me to fight deeper. Y'all wanted these big draw, big fights, and I was asking you guys to fight. So now, y'all want me to fight? I'm gonna take my time. I'm not gonna fight. I'm gonna have my surgery. Yes, that there is a championship clause, but as long as he goes all the way for the rest of the year, he's a free agent. So they can strip him from the belt. He's gone. So it's like the UFC have to hedge their bets. They either they strip him from the title, he's no longer a champion, he can walk away, do his own thing. If they keep him on and hold on to the title, he'd have to wait and renegotiate the contract. Now, the reason why I mentioned race in the beginning was because Ngannou's manager is a black man. And Dana White has came out very critically and said a lot of crazy stuff about him. Even before the fight, Eric Nixon, who's a white man who trains Ngannou, said him and his team, also the management, they looked at the text that the manager got weeks or a week or a couple of days before the fight. It was some egregious, nasty, racist text that was sent to him before this fight. And Dana White has came out and said that the guy is not that smart. He's a bad manager, blah, blah, blah. He don't know what he's asking for, which is why they released Kevin Lee, who's also under that guy's umbrella. And he had a conversation with Francis Ngannou and said, me and Francis have a good thing. And I told him he should be aware of what people around him. Dana White's a businessman. He worked with the fajitas. And me and my boy used to say this, and I want to say this: the fajitas are mobsters, okay? They have casinos in Las Vegas, and I'm not saying it because of that. They also have videos about them. Them cats are, they known in that circle, in that square, and they help bring the UFC to that point. They sold their share and they're done. And I feel that Ngannou has every right to do that, and I'm glad that he bet on himself. He went out there. I like Cyril Gane too, but he went out there. He dominated with a messed up knee, and he won that fight. And he have the UFC backpedaling. And I know Dana White is pissed. And I believe that he should get the opportunity to fight a Tyson Fury and make good money. Like Malik said, there's no way that Mark Hunt hasn't fought in 6 years. And when Mark Hunt fought Brock Lesnar, who was on roids, right? He got $900,000 for that fight. And Ngannou only gets $600,000 base. Now he might get some more money with the pay-per-view points, but that's a base salary. Now, yes, to us, that's a lot of money. But if you're a champion, you should be making 7 figures minimum. If I'm a fighter, I don't even care if you're the bottom fighter on the roster. You should be getting at least $50,000 to $60,000, or at least like a year, whatever the yearly salary of an average business cat or whatever in that vicinity that you live. Because I shouldn't have to put my body on the line, put my life on the line, and not be compensated. That's just me, and I'm for him. I'm with it, and I hope that he gets everything he deserves. Because you look at Tyson Fury and them. That would be a big fight. He could get walk away with 30, 40 million. They did it before, but who they did it for? Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is a white man, Irish man, right? I know people make the argument, hey, he's Irish. He can bring a whole, he bring in Ireland. And Ghana's African. He bring in Africa. Africa, last time I checked, is bigger than Ireland. You know what I'm saying? But they don't look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? And Conor McGregor, yeah, he was a draw in the past. But he's getting the butt kicked. He lost his last, out of his last 5 fights, he only won 1. And he's been getting washed. You know what I'm saying? So this whole draw thing is it's kind of waning. So I think the UFC play ball with people who either, go with the okie doke, or, you know what I'm saying? They value as the commodity. So I hope he gets his money. I hope that things get figured out. I know they're going to do an interim title between John Jones and Stipe. That's inevitable, and I think they'll be happy with that. But I think they need to do it, and I think they need to get better with that. So that's just my opinion on that. So if you guys have anything else to say on that, I know I said a lot, but if not, then we can move forward to the other half of this, which is the NFL situation. Y'all good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I gave a brief synopsis of the NFL situation with Brian Flores. I'm just gonna keep it 100. I'm still new to football in the sense that I know of the game, but I follow basketball primarily, and I've been following football. I had stopped watching football for a hot minute, but especially after the Kaepernick situation, and then I came back gradually a few years ago. Now, there's 32 teams. There are 32 teams in the NFL, and there's only one black coach, and it's 70% of the players are black, and the other percentage of obviously, other nations and stuff like that. And the issue that a lot of people have is that this Rooney Rule that was created, I think, back in 2003, right, required NFL teams to interview at least one minority candidate for any like hiring, whether it's coaching or like, GM position. And it's almost like kind of like an affirmative action type of thing for the NFL. So all they have to do is like, all right, I'm gonna interview Hollister, I'm interview Menelik, I got those guys done it, check, I'm good. So when like my brother, he works for the city, they're doing the same thing, you know what I'm saying? And once they check all those boxes, they can say, hey, I was compliant. I just like, this guy instead. And they did him dirty. Brian Flores got that text from Bill Belichick saying that congratulations, knowing that the Giants already made the decision of who they're going to get. And if you guys know Belichick, he's considered like the GOAT coach. You know what I'm saying? And he is in the know. So for him to know that the Giants is going to hire this man, they was pretty much a done deal. So it's like you going into an interview knowing that you're not going to get the job. It's just a joke. So you get upset about it. And he decided to file his class action lawsuit, and a lot of stuff is coming up. You know what I'm saying? And like about the owner trying to have him to tank. And I remember a couple of years back, people talking about them. They're like, "Yo, why are they doing this? They can actually win. Like, why would they do this? Or why would they play this way?" Because the owner was like, "Look, man, we'll give you $100,000 every game you lose," and he didn't want to do it, and he lost. And the consensus is that a lot of times you see these black coaches getting these opportunities is for teams that are rebuilding, and let the black coach do the dirty work, tarnish their legacy, tarnish their record, and then now they're blackballed and can't get another job. So I just want to get your opinion. So we go Menelik and Hollister.
Yeah. So when I saw about this, I was just like, man, like it's kind of not shocking in a sense of from their history or the reputation in the NFL, right? We expect these kinds of things to some extent, but I think what makes it different is that there's actually some kind of proof or a blatant example. Like before, it's like it's almost like people know what was going on, but now there's a prime example of what happened. So you have it where the guy, right, he's brought in for an interview, but at the end of the day, it was really a sham interview. They already had the candidate picked and promised and everything, but a lot of these things with these owners, right? They are rich, powerful people. They know how to use rules to their advantage or to circumvent them. It's like with taxes, right? There's all types of taxes in place, and they find all kinds of ways to do things to mitigate how much taxes they have to pay or to keep whatever in their pocket. So if they have agendas, whatever, they're gonna find a way. So even with some of these rules, now yes, you might say the intention of the rule was good, but then it becomes almost a joke to them where they're like, all right, we just got to do it. It's just a part of the process. Like, all right, who we going to bring in to like you said, to check that box? And that's kind of what happened here. And I mean, it it's going to be interesting to see what really happens and what stems from this. But as far as Flores, I know some people are like, oh, he broke the whatever by speaking, but I commend him for it, and I commend him for like pretty much sacrificing his career potentially, because it's kind of like with Kaepernick, right? He was still good enough, but because he created whatever, he got blackballed. And now with Flores, he probably won't get another job in the NFL. But at least if he could help make change, I guess that'll be consolation on some level. And it's a bigger thing, and I think he had that in his head that. And look, I know it takes time, and I understand that there's gonna be cases where you're gonna want to order the white coach or a coach of a different ethnicity is the best candidate for the job. But there's gonna be times when you could really give an honest look to a qualified, black coach or black candidate. It's like having that good faith effort, not abusing or manipulating a rule for the sake of appearances. That's where the problem comes in, because now you had never had no real intent, and you're wasting their other people's time, and it's not going to lead to change. So I don't know what they could exactly do, and I mean, and in a sense, like the rule was made because they did feel it was necessary, and it's more than them just not even interviewing a candidate. But at this point, it's not really serving the purpose because they know that all right, we just got to do X, Y, and Z. So maybe they could tweak it or tweak the process or do something else, or change could just happen more organically. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's just a unfortunate situation that fortunately, in a sense, was brought to light so that people could really believe what's going on. Because a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, that's you just think this is the case, or we're doing X, Y, and Z, and this is just how it played out. So we'll see.
It's a damn shame like that. All this is going on because these owners have the players wearing to stop racism, stop the hate, all the stuff on their helmets. But then you have these owners who don't want to hire nobody of color. If they do, the highest position they could probably get is like a coordinator position or something like that. It's insane because Brian Flores is a good coach. He said they paid them to tank. Like they said, if he lose a certain amount of games, they pay him like $200,000 each game. Marvin Lewis said he went through the same thing. I think when he was in Cleveland, I think, or in Cincinnati, they were trying to pay him to tank the whole season as well too. They would give him extra money for that to only tarnish their whole, coaching credibility, just to hire somebody like I'm not gonna say no random person, but like a coach on like the say the Texans, they go 0-16, well now 17. He's terrible. Then y'all gonna hire him for another team, knowing he's not a good coach that quick. Don't make no sense. And also too, Ron Rivera, my coach of the Washington Commanders, he said recently in the interview, he was talking about the whole Brian Flores situation too. He said he didn't say what team, but he said for a head coaching position, he had to do 7 to 8 interviews before he got hired for the coaching position. And he's Latino descent. So it also goes back to him too with that too. It's crazy. Like the NFL got to do something. I don't really think it's going to ever change because Roger Goodell is terrible. And he's probably working with these owners somehow, some way to, keep this stuff going on. Because look what they did to Kaepernick, Eric Reed. It's crazy. Like it's not a good look. Don't get me wrong. I love football, but it's like, come on, like this stuff been going on way too long. Now it's coming into the light. Something has to change. Something has to change. Some of these owners need to really get real diverse because it's not a good look. Like my team, we finally hired a first Black president, Jason Wright. We finally hired a first Black female as a running back coach. The 49ers and some other teams, they have a female coach. Like they got to get real diverse with this stuff and end this racism crap because y'all wearing it on the helmets, y'all putting it all in the arenas on the field, and y'all still doing this crap. Like, come on, man. Like, and they wonder why they're going through the issues they're going through now.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, I just look at it like it's just like gestures. You know what I'm saying? Like they go through the motions, just like even the end races of different things are just checking the box. At the end of the day, it's a bottom line. The bottom line is keeping that money coming in. Like you said, you love football. This is the biggest weekend coming up right now, Super Bowl weekend that everybody's waiting for and fiending to watch these games. Especially that there's a new like bunch of teams in it that haven't been there in a while. And to me, like you said, it's really tough. I look at it like this. Roger Goodell, I don't know him like as commissioner. I know like a lot of people consider him like clownish but at the end of the day, he works for the owners. The owners run the show. The players and the owners are separate. The owners don't look at the players as like how the NBA does, where it's a partnership. They look at them like they are my employees. They got to do what we ask them to do. And at the end of the day, if they don't do what we want them to do, they get them out of there. Like you look at football as 53 men to a roster. And there's a lot of people fiending to be on it. Like I watched some of that what was his thing, like Hard Knocks, whatever. And then like one guy, he was trying to make the roster and he broke his hand. And he's like, look, I'm going back in this wrap me up. I'm going back in there because he knows that if he don't make a good impression, he's not going to get a chance to play. And these cats need their livelihood in it. And some guys just love the game. And it's unfortunate because you can clearly see Brian Flores from Brooklyn, New York strong. And, he really turned that team around with a subpar quarterback, no disrespect to Tua. But in the pieces that he had, but he did what he could with those pieces and made a winning team. And I was hoping that he would get hired for the Giants. I'm a Giants fan, but Giants have been historically, which has made me reconsider a little bit. The Giants have been historically kind of on the fence of hiring people of color and different things like that. I know they had a assistant GM or a GM before that was of color, but like they're really hesitant to have like coaches really do their thing. And you look at what happened to Todd Bowles, you really start to think about it. Like Todd Bowles went to the Jets. The Jets was rebuilding. The Jets was terrible. Then he goes to back to being a defensive coordinator in Tampa. They killing and he win a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like Hugh Jackson, like, you know what I mean? He had a bad record. Now played well before. When he went to the Browns, it was terrible. And it's like it's hard because you don't really get to pick the players. You're not like a Belichick as a coach, especially if you're a black man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Belichick get to pick his team, get to pick the players he want. He pretty much have full autonomy to do what he want to make that team what it is. And if you look at, you know, what's going on with them, you know, they don't have that opportunity. And to me, like you said, Hollister, they got a lot of coaches who stink at one team. And if you think, oh, maybe this depth team, let's just get them on this side and give them another chance. You know what I'm saying? You have nepotism. You got people, family members and sons doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like playing and coaching and getting these top positions and not even have an opportunity to coach or even had an opportunity to do anything, but yet they out doing these black or other people of colors, you know what I mean, and taking these opportunities. And it's sad because at the end of the day, the NFL can come up with whatever they want to come up with. It's the owners. And I do agree with what some of the bigger media outlets what they were saying is that we need change. So I think they said the Denver Broncos were up for sale. So hopefully the
Yeah,
ownership group would allow them in there. I know they were saying that if this is found true with the, you know, Ross guy in Miami, that he should lose the team because if you're doing that and you know purposely tanking, you're taking away the integrity of the game. So yeah, I do agree that he shouldn't have that opportunity to own a team, and it might have to be like a Sterling thing. What happened with in the NBA? And my thing is that you know once we start seeing that and the change of the guard in a sense and start breaking through, I think we start getting you know more rights per se. You know what I'm saying? I hope that you know this Jay-Z thing, you know, and other stuff like that happened, start to trickle down because people are getting tired of this seeing like the empty gestures, like, oh yeah, you wearing the end races on the back of your helmet, you're doing this different things, you put it in the end zone. It's like, all right, you could barely even see it. And like, you know, unless you're
exactly.
not paying attention, it's like, all right, you're doing that to pacify the players and some of your fan base, but you really don't care. And it shows. And honestly, you know, like you said, I like football, you know, I got back into it, you know what I'm saying? But you can really see the elements of like racial, you know, yeah, some racial stuff in it. So I really do hope to get another job. I know he interviewed for the Texan job. I think he interviewed for the Saints job. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I do hope he get an opportunity. But it's going to be tough because you are suing the NFL. So, you know, if you're suing me, why would I give you a job? You know, it's kind of something like that. But like Malik said, you know what I'm saying? He put this on him. He took a big, tremendous sacrifice his career. The man loved to coach. The man's 40 years old, young guy, loves to coach. You know, one player who's like on the like one of these media outlets, he was like, yo man, he changed my career. I was battling to even make it in. I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And he changed everything for me. And I'm able to have this opportunity and win games and become the guy that I am because of him. So that speaks volume. And that guy's white. And it speaks volumes as to who that man is. And to see him get done like that and just knowing it's just crazy. Just imagine it. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody, just imagine you know you go into a job interview. You're already nervous as it is. You're really trying to find a job to help provide for you and your family. And the people that's coming in there just talking to you as if they're going to hire you, and they already know they're not. And you already know that they're not. That's insulting. And it's also embarrassing. So I don't blame them one bit. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to leave it at that. I was going to talk about some other things, but, you know, since Tyler's not here, we get into the basketball stuff a little bit later. But yeah, that's it for the most part with these situations. And you know, it just clearly shows that despite the fact these cats making money, and now people have the excuse like, oh, they're making millions of dollars, they shouldn't be complaining, they should be good, blah blah blah. People still don't understand. People still don't get it. It's not even about the money. Sometimes it's about the principle. It's about integrity. It's about being treated fairly and having equity. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you don't understand that, I don't know what else to say. So with that being said, unless you guys have anything else, I guess we can wrap it.
Waiting for the next episode.
Yeah. So anyway, you said Malik, go ahead.
I say, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So yeah, I want to thank you guys again for watching and thank you guys again for listening to the podcast. Please, give us some feedback, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. We try to grow the platform. Let us know other topics you would like for us to talk about. We do appreciate the support for those who have been supporting and everything like that. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week. Get ready for the weekend. Big game coming this weekend. Hopefully we'll bring you another one before the Super Bowl. Enjoy and God bless.